Hello viewers, here is an Oreck air filter. This is part of the signature series, and you can see it does in fact bear the signature of David Oreck. This machine claims to capture and destroy bacteria, mold, viruses, and fungi. It is an XL for extended life, and supposedly it's professional. Take a look at the informations. "70 watts. I think somebody told me how to decode those date codes, but I forget how it's done. It is a model AIR8SB, and unfortunately, it was made in China. It appears to have a resetting thermal switch in the motor, which is kind of surprising because it is just a regular old, or at least it looks like, a regular old C-frame shaded pole motor, which does make me wonder how well this would hold up in a continuous duty situation. Anyways, I would probably use this in the bedroom, but I know somebody who's looking for one of these, so I'm going to sell it to them, and they'll probably get more enjoyment out of it than I will, because I wasn't really looking for these. Although, now that I've seen this one, I have to admit it does seem like quite a nice filter. It does have the manual controls, high, medium, and silence, and the silence setting is really quite quiet. And then it has this thing where you could put a fragrance tab in there. And it does have manual control for the ionization. Silence technology. So to take the filter out, there's a screw on the bottom here which can be undone by hand. And this lifts up. And this pulls out, and so we have the large particle filter, which particles must be gigantic for that to really do anything. I think if I were to use this, I would get like a carbon filter and cut it to size and just stuff it in this guard here, because I really can't imagine this traps much of any dust. It is one of those electric filters where this gets charged with I believe it's a very high voltage negative ion charge, something or other like that, and it's supposed to capture all the dust and particulates that go in through there. I'm not sure how well that really works. I tend to prefer a HEPA filter, but this is definitely a much quieter means of filtering the air, because this doesn't create a lot of air resistance to pass air through this filter, as they're calling it. So this large particle filter just slips right back on there like that. And before I put this back into the machine, let's take a look inside the machine. There's the contacts for the filter, a nice metal blower wheel, and then hopefully this will focus. You can kind of see there's the looks like the winding. You can see a little better from further back. There's the winding for the C-frame motor, or so I believe it to be. I would take this apart, but I've already told that other person they can have it, and I don't want to risk breaking it or something, because I've never worked on one of these before. Alright, so let's put this filter back in here, and then we'll give it a test run. Or more like a demonstration, rather. I've already tested it. It's in pretty good condition, and it's very clean. I suspect this has never been used. I don't know exactly how old this is. It's definitely older. It does not have a fused plug. And I believe there's a newer model of this out, which of course is not as good. So, probably, if I had to take a guess, I would say this is somewhere around the early to mid 2000s perhaps. Maybe a little bit older. Anyway, so it's plugged up now. It does have an adjustable register. And it's got a pretty good range of adjustment too. And you can see the fan again. And actually here you can see the motor. Oops. See the motor in there, and it does in fact look like a traded pole motor. It's orientated this way with the shaft going like that. Oops. Alright, let's go ahead and power it on. I do have the kilowatts meter connected. We're getting 121.6 volts, and I'm going to go over to watts because I believe that's how they measured it down here. Yeah, 70 watts is what they claim this to draw. So let's start off on high. And we do have a green status OK. Oops, indicator. It's now running, and it's moving quite a bit of air. Certainly putting out a good breeze, and it's very consistent across the entire surface of the blade. Over here, the blade stops, and that's the motor. Nothing there, but actually it seems like it draws air in there a little bit. Maybe there's some I tend to think that there's got to be some kind of a fan on the other side of this motor in order to keep it cool, because I don't think the whatever that thing is called, the blower wheel, is going to pass enough air over the motor to keep it cool. Well, curiosity may get the better of me, and we may go take a look inside this thing anyways. Alright, so that's high. I've noticed if you put it back all the way, the fan speed increases substantially. And this register actually works very well. It makes a big difference where you have it pointed. Okay, so that's high. Go down to medium now, which is much quieter. And it's still moving a decent amount of air, though it's not an impressive amount of air. I think this is still a useful amount of air circulation, though. Oh dear. Something's loose in there. Well, I guess now I'm going to have to take it apart to figure out what that awful noise is. Alright, let's go down to low, or silence as they call it. And it really is silent. I've tested this before when the furnace wasn't running, and it really was inaudible. And it's still moving air. I don't think this is really enough to make much of a difference in the in moving the air on a room necessarily. Even just this much off of the filter, you really... Oh, actually, it's It's still doing something. I guess it's not a worthless speed, but it's certainly not going to be doing all that much. On low, it draws 20 watts. Or on silence rather, it draws 20 watts. On medium, it draws 33 watts. And on high, it draws 53 watts. I'm going to push the register backwards. And it actually went down a little bit to 49, 48. Okay, we'll do a spin down here. We'll go back to high. The spin down time is very good, but I do want to put some oil in there, I think, because it is a shaded pole motor and the bearings typically aren't the best in those anyways. So, that's it. That's the Oreck Professional Air Filter Silence Technology Signature Series Bacteria, Mold, Virus, and Fungi Destroying Air Filter. Thank you for watching.